One of the most startling scientific discoveries from the Human Genome Project is that 250 of our 25,000 human genes have no evolutionary basis whatsoever. What that means is that 250 of our genes are not, I repeat not, shared with any other terrestrial life form. Did you know that 85% of all human beings have a monkey gene? The monkey gene is called the rhesus factor, or Rh factor, because it can be traced to the rhesus monkey. Chances are your blood type tests Rh positive, which means you've got the monkey gene. If by chance your blood type tests negative for the monkey gene, you are in a small minority of only 15% of the world's population. So what happens when an Rh negative woman gets pregnant with an Rh positive partner? Her body rejects, attacks, and kills the fetus, unless, of course, there's medical intervention. What is the cause of this strange breeding incompatibility within the human species? Are Rh negative people alien in some way? Studies were done to see if there's any difference between Rh negative people and Rh positive people. The results were shocking. Rh negative people commonly have a higher than average IQ, sensitive vision, a lower body temperature, increased sensitivity to heat and sunlight. They can't receive blood transfusions from Rh positive donors. They often have reddish hair and blue, green, or hazel eyes. Some even have an extra vertebrae or an extra rib. Since Rh negative blood hasn't followed the usual evolutionary path, it must have been introduced from some outside source. Two celebrated authors, Eric von Daniken and Zacharias Stitchin, have uncovered convincing evidence that the outside source was ancient astronauts who genetically engineered the human race. According to von Daniken, the proof lies in the breathtaking megaliths that were developed either by extraterrestrial visitors or by humans who had been taught the advanced scientific knowledge needed to build them. Such artifacts include Stonehenge, the head statues of Easter Island, and the Egyptian pyramids and obelisks. Why did so many ancient cultures with no way of communicating with each other worship these so-called gods and illustrate them in their artwork as astronauts with space vehicles? It's easy to imagine our own astronauts someday encountering intelligent life forms in space who will view us as their gods. Many of the ancient texts talk of gods who came to earth from the heavens and created man in their own image. The Egyptians, Phoenicians, Chaldeans, Mayans, Aztecs, Aryans, Assyrians, and the inhabitants of ancient India and Tibet have all recorded the arrival of gods from the heavens in their ancient writings. The best place to get answers about who these gods were is from the oldest known records written by the oldest known civilization, the Sumerians, whose culture dates back to 6000 BC. The Sumerians documented the arrival of gods from another world who brought with them advanced knowledge. They called these gods the Anunnaki, which means those who from heaven to earth came. In the 1800s, Sumerian clay tablets were found in present-day Iraq. The tablets clearly identify the name of the god who genetically engineered the human race. His name was Enki, and he's the same god that the Greeks called Poseidon. His symbol was two entwined serpents. The entwined serpents are the double helix of human DNA. This same symbol is used by today's medical profession. Why on earth would the Sumerians and other ancient civilizations make up the same lies about our human origins? The real question that needs answering is why the corporate religions of the world have hidden the truth from us. Zacharias Stitchin is convinced that ancient astronauts lived among the Sumerians. "We look like them," says Stitchin. "They made us through genetic engineering. They jumped the gun on evolution and made us look like them physically and to be like them emotionally." Stitchin goes one step further. He suggests that these gods are ancient astronauts interbred with the human females they created. The Bible's book of Genesis agrees. In Genesis 6:1-4, it says, "And it came to pass when humans began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they chose wives, and they had children with them." What planet, galaxy, universe, or dimension did these sons of God who seeded human life on Earth come from? They were 12 space-bound astronauts whose crippled ship crash-landed in the Atlantic Ocean off of Gibraltar. The astronauts found themselves cast back into the Stone Age with the daunting task of rebuilding their civilization and reinventing science. The Garden of Eden was not a mythical paradise. It was the fertile plain of Atlantis. The word Eden comes from the Sumerian word meaning plain. Plato described Atlantis as a flourishing civilization populated by humans, gods, and demigods. Beyond the city lay a fertile plain 330 miles long, surrounded by majestic mountains dotted with villages, lakes, rivers, and meadows. The idea that flesh and blood, walking, talking gods live side by side with ancient humans is hard to swallow for some. Why? Because for thousands of years, we've been deeply indoctrinated with a religious belief in the existence of only one invisible, all-powerful God. For the Sumerians, cohabitation with human-like gods was an everyday reality. Greek mythology is really the disguised history of the ancient astronauts of Atlantis, who are described by the ancients as heavy, muscular, 8-foot-tall giants. They traveled at wondrous speeds and possessed immense weapons and supernatural powers. They loved, they sinned, they fought battles, and they had lifespans of thousands of years. According to the Vedas of ancient India, the gods were all members of one large, but not necessarily peaceful family. Rivalries between family members split up the gods into two warring factions, the young Olympian gods and the older generation of Titan gods. After a fierce 10-year battle, the Olympians, led by Zeus and Poseidon, overthrew the Titans. Zeus seized the throne of power, but his younger half-brother Poseidon challenged his authority. To end the conflict, Zeus and Poseidon drew lots and divided the world between them. Poseidon, the serpent god, would rule Atlantis and the Atlantic region. Zeus would rule Lemuria and the Pacific region. The story of how the gods created humans is found in the Atrahasis epic, written in the 18th century BC. The epic was written on clay tablets and describes the toil of the lower gods digging canals and rebuilding a new civilization. After 3,600 years of hard labor, they threw down their tools and rebelled.